Movie news episode 2. Alright, guys, let's talk about movie news. I haven't done one of these in a little bit. I just want to do them when I have stuff to talk about. Unfortunately, today brought some sad news I wanted to talk about, and a couple other random pieces of news I wanted to talk about. So, basically, let's start off with my box office predictions. So apparently Argyle's getting really trashed by the critics, and so I was hoping this movie might do well enough that we might get more from this universe, like Matthew Vaughn and the people involved with it clearly intend. But it looks like that's probably not going to happen. That movie's probably going to bomb this weekend. But I do recommend if it looks fun to you, go see it on like a $5 Tuesday. It's a perfect movie for that. It's a really fun movie. That's what I think about that. I've seen Scramble, but I'm curious to see that. That just came out, and yeah, Argyle will be number one at the box office, just flat out. There's no way it's not going to be, but it will be a very low grossing weekend. Some of the movies not doing great this weekend. Well, that's unfortunate. So next weekend is going to be Lisa Frankenstein and Turning Red, which will be a much better weekend for both of those, I think. I think there has not been a animated kids thing in theaters for a while other than Soul, but that's not really a kids thing. So I think Turning Red is going to have a good spot and actually make some decent money. The week after is Madam Web and Bob Marley. So I think February is going to be a good month for the theaters, but they just really need to hold out until next week because Argyle is sadly not going to drive the business. I'm expecting at least a $12 million debut for Argyle. Nothing more. Nothing less, sadly. And I'll be surprised if it's more. But I said this before. Apple TV Plus should stop worrying about the fucking box office, though, because they literally just do not care about the box office. Apple has the money to spare with these movies. It just means that the sequels that they're going to make for these movies probably aren't going to happen, since this is an Apple co-production. So, yeah. So let's start with the sad news. Carl Weathers passed away, aka Apollo Creed, or Grease Cargo from Mandalorian. He's a phenomenal actor, great talent, very wonderful human being. He sadly passed away today. Actually, he passed away last Thursday. Whatever. He's 76, lived a good life. Very unfortunate, but at least he lived to be about 76. That's a pretty good span that any human could hope to live for. So that's my optimism for that. Yeah. So there's really only two stories I want to talk about, but I wanted to talk about them in a little bit of detail. So the main story I wanted to talk about is that I'm going to talk about the end, but the first story I want to talk about is this Megamind trailer. Apparently, so this Megamind. So we heard Megamind was going to be a series. And as someone who follows DreamWorks Animation and a lot of their projects, I don't know why people were this upset. But they were really upset when they found out that this movie and show were low budget as hell and didn't look the greatest. I'm sorry, what's wrong with all you guys? This is what DreamWorks does. They take an old property. They've done it with Trolls. They've done it with Boss Baby. They've done it with Abominable. They've done it with The Croods. They've done it with Puss in Boots. They've done it with All Hail King Julian. So many others. A couple of those shows have been quality. They've done it with Kung Fu Panda. This is what they do. They make low-budget sequel series. Some of those are, hit or miss and not great. Most of those not being great because they're made for little kids. But this is kind of what they are. So for me, I watched that trailer and it's about what I expected. I'm going to be checking the show out when it releases on Peacock and the movie and doing videos on them and review Megamind for you guys. But I just don't really understand this really angry reaction I've seen from people. It's like, it looks like shit. I mean, yeah, but this is what you should have expected. I think it does show that maybe people do really want a legitimate, real Megamind sequel. I don't think that's ever going to happen, though, because Megamind, unfortunately, was a box office, I don't want to say failure, but not a great, producer of money. Last story I want to talk about is Avatar: The Last Airbender live action remake, there's been this story going out about how they're trying to make Sokka less sexist, and some people have been really freaking out about that. I personally don't understand this, because I do acknowledge that Sokka's sexism is part of his character, right? But his sexism is part of his character, and he does have to go through an arc, but there's a part where, like, he's just sexist just cuz a little bit. And I feel like toning that down just a little bit and not completely discarding it is perfectly fine. I don't think the show is going to grab me or make me love this show or anything, but like, God, like, why do we want Sokka to be making sexist jokes? I mean, we know we have that subplot with the Kyoshi Warriors and how they, in the show, Sokka has to genuinely apologize for making fun of them and their fighting skills, and it's a whole thing in that episode, so I think that's fine, but I think people need to chill with the just very vitriolic reaction to this news. I think it was just stupid, because I like the arc that he has about overcoming his sexist nature and having to learn and be a better person. And I think as long as they can still include that in a way without him constantly making sexist remarks throughout the show, that works better for me.